Hello everyone and welcome to Winds of Change Part 9, Cleansing Zen Daijun. This is not quite a kill all the enemies quest. Instead you have to kill 5 bosses, 5 monk bosses. Now I've sped this video up because it originally took me about half an hour to do this. So you're currently watching it at double speed. I feel it's probably better that way. The quest in general is a bit of a nuisance, largely because the enemies are supposedly in groups of 4 here, which would make it fairly easy. You have 6 party members, enemies in groups of 4, you'd think that's fine. But the enemies are linked strangely. They're not parts of the same group, but if you aggro a single group, it is very, very likely that other groups, even though they are still a fair bit away, will join in the fight. Because I suspect it's because you start damaging a group, and another group that's, I don't know, 2 or 3 aggro bubbles away will notice, oh, our allies are taking damage, let's go over there. So you'll see this quite frequently, that I'm trying to carefully pull a group, but others will join in anyway. And this can even lead to your whole party wiping, as you will also see at some point. Yeah, the first boss you have to fight is just to the right here. I'm not sure if you have to do them in order, in the order that the quest marker gives them to you, but there really isn't any reason not to, because that's the most convenient order anyway. So yeah, there's no point trying to go for the last location first or anything like that. Now I did use a summoning stone here. It doesn't really matter. You'll see that it does some nice damage on occasion. Mostly it just kind of stands there, and on occasion it's even negative. But here you can see the group that came in from the side there, from the south. I'm pretty sure that group did aggro because the ritualist or maybe the monk in the group wanted to heal one of the other enemies that I had already engaged, and so the entire group aggroed onto me. And this can happen very, very quickly in this quest. Something you really wanna be careful about, and yeah, try to avoid, even though sometimes it seems like there's not really much you can do about it. Okay, aside from that, there really isn't that much to say. My hero builds will be in the description as always. There's nothing spectacular about them. Just because the groups are so small, I decided not to run Panic on Gwen. Instead, she has Psychic Instability, which against small groups I find it the superior crowd control option. The heroes don't use it perfectly, but neither do they use Panic perfectly. And you just occasionally see a group of enemies just being knocked down for 4 seconds, and that's quite valuable. So yeah, that's about it though. I think I also replaced Splinter Weapon with Cry of Frustration to have an additional Rupt. But yeah, aside from that, running the standard bars. There's half a healer on Master of Whispers. He's got the Pain of Disenchantment and the standard bar, and my Raza, my Signet of Spirits summoner, is also still using the restoration build. And here, once again, I just pull a group and, start killing it. We really want to be careful about the elementalists. Invoke Lightning can hurt quite a bit. They are not easy enemies. And then you're already at the second boss. So far, I'd say it's been fairly easy. The annoying part of the quest is actually sort of the middle section. The final area, again, is pretty doable, but yeah, this middle part I found to be quite difficult. So really play it carefully. But yeah, you might still over aggro and just wipe. It does happen. and then there's nothing for it. Luckily, you don't need to protect any NPCs. There's no way to fail the quest, so if you wipe, just remove death penalty and just go at it again. Which is something I would always recommend for playing this kind of hard mode content. Just have something to get rid of death penalties so it doesn't stack up. And then you'll probably never be in a situation where you can no longer finish an area because you've got too much DP. You will just you'll just be able to burn it off and, you know, just keep going. Yeah, also please let me know, is this sort of sped up video still useful? Would you prefer it be in real time and, you know, longer? I guess twice as long, since I'm currently running this at double speed. Yeah, let me know. I can't do much editing since I'm pretty much limited to free software. I'm not intending to spend the money that Adobe or Sony Vegas stuff costs. It's not in my budget. I'm not paying, what, 30-40 euros a month, or what, the 700 euros in a single go for Sony Vegas. Not gonna happen, so I can't do that much, but, you know, speeding up a video is definitely feasible. You're just gonna have to let me know. And here you'll see they've already got 2 groups aggroed, even though I didn't really walk into their range. They just came for me. And yeah, there's about to be you can see there the 3rd group from the side, and then I think that might even be a 4th one from behind that all joined in. And I wasn't being careless. It's just they patrol a bit, then they tried to come in and heal their friends, and, you know, you just die. It just happens. So yeah, I'm just running back now. First I was debating cutting the death out, but again, I'm not trying to pretend like I never die. I'm just trying to keep these videos a little, I don't know, a little more meaningful. I'm trying not to have them be excessively long. So here you see the issue of having died is that the enemy necromancers, for example, have started building up their minions, and you could wait until the minions are dying or dead. And here you also notice that the necromancer back there, I didn't aggro him, he just tried to heal his allies. Even though they're not in a group, they're still allied, so you will notice that during Winds of Change with the Afflicted quite a bit, that you try to aggro one group and others will join in to support the group that you have aggroed. So that is something to be careful about. And yeah, the Crystal Guardian here that I'm using, it can be nice and it can be bad. The Crystal Guardian does decent damage, so it's not that bad, but because it runs into such close range, it can also sometimes pull additional groups. And of course it means that it takes a lot of fire, and in this case it really didn't last very long. But again, I'm just using the stones that you get from Gifts of the Traveler, because you end up having so many of them if you regularly get the gifts that there really is no need to save them. I have, I think, 3 more stacks in storage, and might as well reuse them, right? I'll only be using summoning stones in reduced party size areas, though in the 8-man areas I probably won't. Maybe during some of the quests later on that I think are a little more difficult and require a little more of an investment, I guess. Aside from that, it really isn't that complicated. There are 3 more locations where you need to fight bosses, but for now it's just a matter of fighting your way through the Afflicted. And you can see why I sped this video up. There isn't really that much to say. Again, builds will be in the description. I'm playing very poorly as a necromancer as always. Aside from that, just, I guess, try to keep your distance and not aggro multiple groups at once, but they patrol, they move, they try to heal each other. It's not always easy. So you might have seen there the Ritualist in the background. He was well outside of aggro range of any of my allies, and he was already running. And yeah, that was because he has some sort of healing ability that he wanted to use on one of his allies. So the only explanation I have. Not sure which one he has, but I'm assuming he was trying something. Pretty sure he didn't have aggro. Maybe of a minion that I didn't see, but usually I'd, let's say, just try to do some support. And then another really annoying thing is, again, something you can't do anything about, but as you can see, all my minions were trying to go after those spirits there, instead of going for the afflicted warriors, which were actually causing damage and are actually troublesome, whereas the spirits you can just walk out of range and you'll be fine. But yeah, you cannot control your minions, that's just something you have to deal with. Okay, you can... I could at least squeeze past this group. And again, there will be a boss spawning in that shrine location. There's also a boss there if you do the mission here. I guess it's just a good location for a boss. Pulling the group in front of the boss by itself. You should notice that boss only spawns if you move quite close to it. So you can pull the groups around the boss separately without the boss even spawning. And even if the boss already spawns, you can still be separate from them. And there you see the boss only now spawned when I moved quite closely, so I could kill the group in front of it without engaging the boss itself. So that's actually kind of funny. The normal groups around here, they will all aggro quite quickly, and you will end up having multiple of them. But it's usually not an issue at all to get the boss by itself. And then, yeah, you just kill this boss. Then monk bosses, they do holy damage, so your minions might suffer. But aside from that, they're not that bad. I guess if you've got a ton of minions, you can just wait for the boss to be surrounded, using some sort of AoE, and then you can PI it, and it could probably die quite quickly. And here again, you just want to be quite careful. This whole quest takes place in the Daijun mission area, so you can only access this if you've completed the Daijun quest, the mission, in just standard playthrough, I guess. So, same is true for Minister Cho's Estate. If you want to do this on a non-Canthan character, you must still finish Minister Cho's Estate and Daijun, the missions from the tutorial island, because otherwise you cannot enter the respective areas. Luckily, these missions will not be difficult. If you're at a point where you can tackle Winds of Change, those missions will not be an issue. I guess I might as well mention it. I have seen people, or heard people rather, say that they couldn't enter those missions on non-factions characters. And yeah, you can see the minion there that I circled. I'm not quite sure if that was visible long enough in the sped up version. But yeah, one of my minions had aggro onto one of the guys down there, and he tried to run to them, and so his pathfinding made him pull additional groups. Just something to be aware of. And now you can see it again, the minions kind of going back and forth, trying to get to the groups down there, being unable to, so deciding to come back, running into aggro of the group down there again, and trying to run towards them again. They're just kind of pinging back and forth. So, in this case, I could have just waited for the spirits to die down there, or I could just, try to deal damage them. But since I moved closer, that actually made my minions aggro an additional group. So now I have the boss and the group from down there at the same time. Yeah, just something to be careful about. I made a point, or I started talking about the beginner missions, the Noob Island stuff from factions. If you're a non-factions character and want to do those, you just have to walk into the outposts. You have to be by yourself, or I think you might just have to be without other factions characters. And yeah, this is the last boss. So I guess to just to be sure, just be by yourself, and you will be able to enter the these mission areas, and you will be fine. Now there's only this last group left to deal with, and then the final boss. It's not really complex anymore. As I said, the middle section where you can easily over aggro is probably the most difficult. So all I need to do here is just beat the boss. Yeah, guess there isn't really much more to say. I hope you found this a somewhat useful video. And best of luck when you do this yourself.